What's up, people? Welcome to Friday Night WrestleCast, late night WrestleCast. I'm your host, Adam Vale. Tonight I'm joined by Sister Dana. What's up, Sister Dana?
Hey.
All right. We also got Richard Bailey Jr. That was a delay. Yeah, there we go. We got Richard Bailey Jr. What's up, man?
What's up, everybody, and happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah. And we got the one and only Boston Ricky. Boom, boom, boom.
Hey, well, how's it going?
All right, I guess it's going, man. It's been a long time. For those who don't know, this is episode 451 and a half, and Ricky was on episode 1, 2, 3, and 6, and then disappeared. But he's back now that we got his boy Moxley over in AEW. So, how do you feel about that, man? He left WWE. He's with AEW. He's living his dream, right? I don't think he's lost a match since.
He's now the guy that he was always meant to be. He's truly a star, and I mean, it's not even just AEW. He's tearing it up in New Japan as well. So this man is worldwide.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, yo, this guy, he leaves WWE. He gets to do what he wants to do, which is these hardcore matches or whatever you want to call that match he had with Kenny Omega. And he's still a number one guy, whether it's AEW or New Japan. And I realize, I'm like, damn, he hasn't lost the match. He's still on it. How long is that going to... Do you see him getting this belt? I mean, we're sort of sidetracking because we're going to talk about the show. But, you know, Ricky's on and he's a big Moxie fan. So I'd just like to get his opinion on all this.
I was kind of... I'm sorry, I was kind of like on the fence about like what they were going to do with this, but it seems like they're really building up to him actually taking the belt off of Jericho. Jericho's had that belt, I believe, since All Out.
Well, he's the first title. That's it. Since the creation of the show, he's had that title. So.
Yeah, and it's been like getting close to 6 months now, so it's probably about the point where they need to pick someone else, and Mox seems to be that guy. There's very few other people that I think would be better in that spot right now. So I think it might be his time.
Do you think he's going to be their version of Goldberg? Because I don't see anybody beating him, and right now he's still on this. I'm kicking everybody's ass, and I'm getting over. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that.
I think it's like he's having kind of a throwback Stone Cold Steve Austin run in a way, but even Stone Cold got beat by the occasional Undertaker, a Kane, a Triple H, even back then. So I think this will be a thing where Mox will have the belt. He won't have it quite as long as Jericho did for this run. You have to remember that Kenny Omega still exists, Pac still exists. Mm-hmm. They have quite a lot of talent there in AEW. So. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And hopefully, from what we've seen, they got the Monster Matanza, Jeff Cobb. Oh, man, yeah. I'm thrilled by that, dude. I am so thrilled. Huge fan of Jeff Cobb, Monster Matanza from Lucha Underground. And if anyone hasn't seen him, he's just so talented for a big man. He's doing shooting stars and all kinds of stuff. Standing shooting stars. I always remember that. It's just amazing what he can do for a big guy. And it's hard to believe. I remember I heard there was a story. Well, I can't really say so much of a story. It was an interview that he did with Cole Cabana. And he was talking about his time out in Indies. And he said, oh, by the way, I was in NXT where I tried out. And I think it was a group of 8 people. And 2 did not get picked to stay. And he was one of the 2. And the other person had an injury. So he was like, I guess I'm really bad. that they pass on me along with the guy who had the injury. He said everybody else made it. And I just can't believe that. Because if anybody's seen Jeff Cobb perform in the ring, whether it's over at PWG or Lucha Underground or Ring of Honor, he's amazing. He's an amazing talent. I just can't believe they just passed on him like that. But I'm glad to see that. So anyway, this is as most people know, the way this format works is that we go live. Well, not live anymore, but we will record it because we go too long when we go live. And we cover the pay-per-view going into the weekend. So we give a quick rundown, our predictions, and keep you up to date because a lot of people, either they fall off throughout the month or they're not too sure what's going on at the shows. So, hey, this is your recap. You didn't have time to watch all that wrestling because now there's a lot of wrestling between AEW, NXT doing all this stuff, New Japan, Ring of Honor, the MLW, whoever watches that shit. There's tons of wrestling out there. So right now, though, this week, we only have one pay-per-view. Usually they come in threes. We got a WWE main show. We got an AEW. We have NXT. But this one, separate. This is NXT TakeOver Portland. And it doesn't look like that's that busy of a card, right? What am I looking at? 6 matches? That's pretty much it. 6. So, but before we do that, Dana, I think you have some news. We're going to give a quick rundown for some of the top news that people should know about. Not just all the rumors and stuff, but actual news in the world.
This is news. This is like verified news.
Yeah, see, there you go.
Very quickly. Kathy Kelly, who is an interviewer, she works over at NXT. She has released a statement on her Twitter basically stating that this Sunday's NXT TakeOver is going to be her last. She is leaving the company. It was a very difficult decision, but she has decided to leave so that she can have room for growth. And she needs to step away and spread her little wings. So she will be gone. Next one we have, New York Post. This is a really crazy one.
It's coming from the Post, so.
It's coming from the Post, so yeah. Ted DiBiase is basically receiving $2.1 million in welfare for his religious nonprofit. That's insane. But a religious nonprofit organization that is founded by Ted DiBiase, whose son, Brett DiBiase, was indicted last week for allegedly embezzling charity funds, has reportedly received more than $2.1 million in welfare from the state of Mississippi.
Wait, slow down. That's not the same DiBiase Jr. that was in WWE, right? That's another son.
That's another one. That would be Ted.
I was going to say, I was like, because Ted
Jr.
Where did Ted go? He just disappeared.
I don't know. He from what I last heard, he was living his best life at a camp. Like he's running a camp and
running a camp.
Was really happy.
Sounds like he's running a cult. All right, but keep going. When a grown man starts running camps for adults, that's a cult. Just saying.
With kids and things.
Oh, wait, kids. You gotta specify. I don't know.
I thought camps would be for kids. What adult camp do you know of?
There's a few.
Are you going to camp this summer?
No, I don't go. But I know that they have some up in Connecticut. They have there's a celebrity camp, actually, where some celebrities will be there with adults. Okay. It's weird. All right, keep going.
I'll run it by P today.
So just to make sure, just make sure we're clear, it was Ted Jr. that's running this camp, right?
No, this is a whole separate. Ted Jr. is fine. Ted DiBiase, the father, and his other son, Brett. Ted DiBiase is receiving $2.1 million in welfare in the state of Mississippi. Brett was indicted last week for embezzling charity funds. So they're both in trouble, but for separate cases. Okay. So what happened is Ted Sr., the one that we know as $1 Million Man, he became a preacher after retiring from the ring, which he formed the Heart of David Ministries, which receives $5,000 in grants in 2013.
I remember that.
But pulled in $271,000 in welfare money in 2017. Now, this all happened when he was the senior official at the Mississippi Department of Human Services by former director John David. So it was a whole group of people that is involved in this embezzlement scheme where he was receiving $2.1 million. Okay?
All right. Well, I have some insight, not on their story, but I've seen similar stories and with churches and how they get this money. Because I remember I saw a report not too long ago, and it was about something similar. And what the church was doing is that they said that they were helping out for, let's say, AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, and a few other groups, and that they would host these things in their church, their facility, and so they needed funding. So they're still nonprofit, and that counts as money that they're collecting. So they're saying that they're providing these services, these groups, but we don't know if they're actually doing that. So it sounds like Ted DiBiase and friends are not actually doing it. They're just saying they are and collecting these checks.
Right. He stated that he went and put the money towards church, speaking engagements, religious conferences, school assemblies, and wrestling events. under the church, and they did not file any tax documents.
Yeah, wrestling events in church. That makes total sense. Yeah, why not put money? Well, who the fuck puts that shit down? It was like, oh yeah, by the way, I also do wrestling events. Wrestling events, that means profit. You're making money.
But this is the craziest part here. Ready? Mm-hmm. Now, the state of Mississippi, according to New York Post, has denied more than 98% of individual welfare applicants, people who are actually eligible for welfare, while giving more than $2 million to Ted DiBiase's foundation. That's insane. So.
Yeah. Well, the key there is foundation. That's the whole point. It's not like just Ted DiBiase. This money is given to this foundation thinking that they are helping a large amount of people. So it's not doing that. It's not doing that. Shit, man.
Yep. And so this happened also while he was collecting a $95,000 salary. And he reportedly used $48,000 of that on rehab for his drug addiction. This is for so Brett, the son, was given this money, the $95,000 for his salary, even though he's not qualified for his position, right? Mm-hmm. Working with his father, and he said that he used $48,000 of that towards his rehab for his drug addiction. So it was a big family scheme.
Damn. All right, yeah, this is complicated. I want to see the documentary on this whole thing because there's a lot going on here, a lot of moving parts. That's a lot of money for a rehab. I thought that money you were going to say was toward his drug addiction, but if it's toward his rehab, he must be in one of these high-end rehab facilities.
Yes.
Oh, man.
That is
an
insane amount.
What else
but also, we're going to shift a little bit. We have the reported salaries, according to David Meltzer, for two of the women's champions, former and current, Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch, are reported to be the two highest paid female superstars in WWE, and they are signed to a $1 million guarantee, which to poor people may seem a lot, but is really not compared to, say, Edge just signed the $3 million.
Well, Edge's career could end his first match back. So I could see why he's getting so much. Plus, that's instant gain, quick gain. Think of all the merch he's probably selling right now. Because you remember, once he popped up in the Rumble, I'm pretty sure you all received email from WWE. I know I did. And it was like, oh, get the new Egg shirt. It was like a skull and everything. So they're going to make that money back quick.
Well, yeah, absolutely, but still.
Yeah. But what about bonuses? I'm sure Charlotte gets a bonus from merch sales. They all get bonuses from merch sales. The Man, I'm sure she made a killing at the peak of that gimmick's run.
Well, remember, all of their merch sales from everyone is now getting cut because WWE is no longer doing their their house shows. Mm-hmm. Remember, during the quarterly report, they are trying to save a lot of money. And in that, they're cutting back on a lot of their shows, which would feed into merch.
Yeah, but you know what? Rich and Ricky could jump in on this one, too, because they know. When we go to these live events, who buys shit there? It's so expensive. It's cheaper to just order it. It's cheaper to get it online than it is at a live event, which is ridiculous because you would think that you would be getting a deal by buying these things at the live event. And then you take a look and you're like, shit, $35, $40 for a damn t-shirt? Are you kidding me? I was like, I could just wait till I get the email for buy one, get one free from, their WWE shop and just go down that road. So I stopped buying merch at live events.
Yes.
I would like to make a comment, and I'm pretty sure Ricky will make this comment. I recall Ricky buying a lot of merchandise at WrestleMania weekend, so...
well, that's different. No, that's different. That's Mania. That's a special... We're talking house shows. If it's just a regular house show, you're not getting anything... When you go to Mania, you're getting special Mania merch that you'll only get there at Mania. That's different. But we're talking house shows. You could buy those NXT or, whatever t-shirts at the WWE shop and get a discount.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Rich, I think I could recall that you were interested in a particular Finn Balor shirt that was supposed to have the Statue of Liberty on it, and that shirt, I believe, was only available at Mania weekend. You couldn't buy it online. stuff like that, like the exclusive stuff that you have to be at the show, like even like when Kevin Owens had his special shirts for every venue that he was at. I understand going for stuff like that, but the stuff that Adam is referring to, which I agree, is the common shirt that you could get at any time from the WWE shop online and get it at a discount when they have those deals. Mm-hmm. You go to the event and they're charging $35-$40 for the damn shirt, and they're making it because you got little kids who are telling to their parents, like, I want it, and they want it right then and there. So that's how they keep getting away with it.
Shit, I remember many moons ago when RVD was still part of WWE, and I took a date to Madison Square Garden to see a house show, and she insisted she had to get the thumbs, the RVD foam thumbs. Remember when they would point, at himself, and he is like the two rubber things. Those things were like the foam. They were like around there, $20-$30 for that shit. So.
That's terrible.
Yeah, she wanted it, so I'm like, why not go with it?
Did she buy it?
Oh, no, I bought it. You know me, the sucker.
Oh, no. What is that much money for?
Yeah, who knows? Hopefully she still has it. Probably not. I don't know what she's doing now.
That's terrible.
I know she had fun with those fingers. But, all right, so what else? What else you got? Dude?
Right,
Moving along.
Those who have the WWE Network, I'm not telling you to please cancel your subscription because it's useless, but you may think about canceling your subscription. Those who are not aware, WWE, despite the many years of the network being on active and whatnot, you remember how it reached that 2 million subscribers, and they was very happy about that. Well, apparently it has dropped. It is below the 2 million mark, basically at 1.5 million. And on top of that, WWE is now in talks to sell the rights to their pay-per-view events, which is currently available via the company's WWE Network OTT platform. So they're going to start selling to whomever wants to buy it. And what Vince McMahon has said during his WWE fourth quarter and full year earnings conference call was that we have a lot of options. We could continue as they are now with a free tier and a more enhanced paid tier. But basically, what is more lucrative to the company and to get more money, because they don't have a lot right now, is to exercise their full rights to see if they can sell to major organizations, companies who are willing to pay top dollar for it. So it would basically mean that, every pay-per-view that we get is, prime for the picking. But then there has been kind of talk saying that WrestleMania and Royal Rumble would be off limits because that is the most for their moneymaker. I know a lot of people who just turn in for those major pay-per-views. So right now it's looking very iffy. We also have the tier system that they've been working at. But it's really hard to have a tier system when people are abandoning the network and they haven't even made any of the changes yet.
I'll tell you that right from the get-go. I've been a member since it launched. And I know a lot of other people that jumped in and other people that decided not to because what they wanted out of it, they didn't get. The pay-per-views elements, that's what's keeping it afloat, at least for me. I don't appreciate any of the other content. ECW stuff was cool. I've watched it to death. I have a bunch of those tapes still. But I was really hoping, and a lot of people were, that you would be able to have SmackDown and Raw on there. And I know a lot of people that didn't want the service, that was their plan. They were like, oh, wow, a wrestling network, if I miss Raw or SmackDown, I could just watch it there. That wasn't the case. You still had to watch, and then eventually they had little recap shows, but you couldn't watch the whole thing. And a lot of people got turned off by that because they were like, all right, well, you're now promoting Hulu, having your product on Hulu, another sub-service. And then what happened to all these WWE films? None of them are on there. Everybody was assuming that we were going to see all these movies on there. And I don't even think a single movie popped up. They don't have any of them.
No.
So it's like, what are you giving us? They're giving us all these reality shows. Some of them are decent. The Table for Three, that's all right. the ride along, that was kind of entertaining until they start pandering to the camera, which is expected because they have a camera in their face. So you're not going to get real talk in the car. They know they're being watched for that 2 hour ride. And whatever. But what I see this, when we heard, what was it, last year, that they were talking about introducing another tier system. There was going to be the free, there was going to be what we have now, the $9.99, and then there was going to be a higher version. And I remember receiving an email that was talking about, hey, if there was another tier, what would you want on it? And one of the options was wrestling, and then it even threw a bunch of promotions. Like, would you like to see Ring of Honor and Impact? It was like throwing all these other brands in. And we did hear that they did try to reach out to Ring of Honor to get some back catalog for certain stars and stuff like that. And we know that they were able to attain that from Impact because it went through new ownership, and new ownership was all about money. It's like, hey, you pay us and you can get whatever you want. And they started getting content and stuff for the Hardy Boys and some other things. But I know they were talking about doing another tier, and that's what that was going to have. It was going to have what we have now, but it'll have more promotions on there. Wrestling promotions and their back catalog. So that would make sense. But man, what you just mentioned and what I heard, that they were talking about passing it around and getting it off, and it makes sense on a business side. It's not growing. It's been around for years. And it's still not even, it's barely hitting 2. It's always fluctuating because a lot of people sub up right before WrestleMania, but then they also sub out after WrestleMania. So what's the point? Because most of the time that's a sub, but that's not a paid sub. They're still on their free month or whatever it is. So it's sad. It's very sad. It's very sad. If they do have this where they pitch, and let's say they do sell off these pay-per-view events to Fox or to whoever it is that wants to do it, we definitely know it's not going back to pay-per-view. It's just going digital, whatever digital service. Sort of like what people are familiar with ESPN, ESPN Plus. So ESPN has the UFC rights, but for pay-per-views of UFC, you have to go to to ESPN Plus, have a subscription to that, or you could just pay for the pay-per-view via ESPN Plus. So it's a whole little to-do switcheroo there, but I think that's what they're thinking of, going down that road if Fox or anyone's willing to pay. Now, Fox already gave them, like $1 billion. I don't know if they're willing to open up the purse for any more, especially with the ratings not really living up to standards for SmackDown or Backstage. So who knows, but it just shows that they're trying any way they can to find another outlet to make some money, because I don't think that they're hurting, but since they are a publicly traded company, they have to continually show growth and income. That's why we're seeing all these Saudi shows, and they're always pushing those, because that's quick money. That's easy money for them. But this could definitely fracture whatever group that they have that still wants to linger with that network. If they start seeing certain things being pulled out of it, and saying, remember you had this, you still have some of the pay-per-views, but you're not going to have all of them. You're going to have to go and pay either on our higher tier to get the rest of them, or you're going to have to order the pay-per-view from whatever provider has it. I don't know. What about you, Rich? What do you think of this? Do you think this is leading to the end of the WWE Network, or just part of business?
Actually, before you go to me, I would love to go to Mr. Ricky, because he has a brief story to talk about his most recent experience with the network.
Story time with Ricky.
Well, before I actually go into that story, I was going to ask a question. You mentioned about them not having or not doing house shows anymore, but I remember that they were flirting with the idea of this higher tier subscription, including the possibility of streaming house shows. So I guess that idea is off the table.
Well, no, they were streaming house shows on the network for a while. They did special house show streams. They did that when your boy Moxley left. They streamed that one. They did one for the Brock when he had a match over at Madison Square Garden, which was just a house show. They streamed some house shows. It was never the plan to get all of them, but it was for special events. And then even some of them, even some of them, they started putting their old WCW pay-per-view taglines on them, like Starrcade and stuff like that. But they were still house shows.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I wasn't sure if it was going to be something where like it's like one house show per week, or if it was going to be like, the occasional one or two per year. And I guess that's what it ended up being, and they were just treating it as special events.
Yeah.
So the story that Rich is referring to is that if you'll recall, back in the early stages of the WWE Network's existence, they were desperate for subscriptions to the point where you could sign up for free, get that month, and then sign up again with a new email address and get another month, and just keep going until you ran out or whatever.
Can't you
or
still
as long
do
as
that?
you use a different.
How does it know it's you?
So here's the thing, is that I remember that it got to a point where it was like, if you're using the same credit card number, it's going to identify you and charge you. But here's the thing, is that I hadn't been a subscriber since like 2018. But I decided, let me get the free month for the Royal Rumble.
This past
that's
Royal
where
Rumble?
I got duped. So like for the Royal Rumble last month, and what I did was I created a new account, and I had a new credit card. They did not have my credit card on record because I had a new one. I registered with that. The only difference, and this is where I messed up, is that I used the same billing address that I've used before.
Okay.
They had the record of that, and the thing was that in the past, it didn't matter that I used my old billing address. They didn't care. They were just like, okay, here's your free month. This time, they're like, nope, we're going to charge you. But here's the thing. They never warned me that they were going to charge me when I signed up.
They just did.
I found out after the fact. I looked at my bank statement. I saw that I got charged. So I was like, wait a minute, what's up with this? I checked with customer service. They're like, yeah, you should have gotten a warning that you were going to be charged because, you've used it before. And I was like, but no, it's a different credit card number, different email address. And they said, no, it's one per household. So that's where it gets really tricky, is that if you have the exact same address, you're going to get charged forever.
Mm-hmm.
That's
so they see it as like you're just continuing on.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, and I get it, because it's better for their business. You want to get that money, and $9.99 is not a whole lot in the big scheme of things. So,
even if it's
the
just
Royal
for
Rumble
the
was
pay-per-view,
entertaining.
Yeah, that's the thing. Even if, let's say, you canceled after that month, that's still cheaper than if you ordered the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So. Yeah,
and the stream quality was good. The event was good. So I'm not mad about that. But it is just kind of like a warning to anyone that wanted to try the old system. It doesn't work anymore.
Darn it. I was going to get WrestleMania. But then this goes to another thing. Will we end up going back to when pay-per-views were $50?
I don't see them doing that. They invested too much money in the network and the infrastructure, and having that. It's still going to be around. It still has over 1 million subs. They still have that market. They'll do something else with it.
Yeah, but it's been around for like almost 10 years.
Yeah, but it's
excited
again
for your 1 million subs?
No, until they all fizzle out and everybody says, you know what, forget this, we're moving on. They have to do something else, unless the network itself gets picked up by, let's say, Fox or something like that, and it becomes a division of that service. So you become a member of their Fox Go app, whatever, and then there's a tab that says WWE. You click on that, now you're in the network. That's all under that package. As if they get gobbled up. I could see that happening. But it's sad. The whole thing is sad. It's very sad. It just never went anywhere. The only thing I could think of is that Vince and friends were thinking, well, we have this back catalog, which is massive. So let's dump all this on there. Let's add all the pay-per-views, and let's watch the money roll in. But the fans want more. Fans want more new content, especially when you have NXT. For me, that was the live content I watched weekly. When NXT, every Wednesday, that's where I was. I mean, it wasn't live, but still, that's where it was airing. And then once they moved it to USA, I found myself rarely turning on the network unless it's for a pay-per-view event. Maybe I'll watch some NXT UK, but besides that, I stopped really watching anything on there. So it's pointless.
I I want to ask a quick question since you brought that up. Did that play a role in people now no longer unsubscribing for the network because they know NXT is now on USA, so they can just watch it on USA as opposed to...
Yeah, that was a big reason also.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So there's really no wrestling happening on there besides NXT UK. And that's it. What, you have 205? I think they sort of do that every once in a while. Because for a while they stopped airing those episodes. It's... I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with it. It's in bad shape right now, and they're just pointing it out. Hey, we're looking for anybody else who wants to buy in on grabbing some of these things. So yeah, I could see it getting into even worse shape as the year goes on. And the fact that they haven't unleashed that new tier system proves that a lot of things are still up in the air. They don't have anything definite, or else that would have, because that was supposed to launch last year. Then I remember seeing that they're going to launch it in January, the first month of the new year. We're going to see it, and January's come and gone. So. But it makes sense. If you have everybody that's already unsubscribing, how are you going to convince them to pay more? It's like they don't want to pay what you're asking for now.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it would be too late even if they decided, all right, we're going to bring everything in-house. We're gonna take our content off of Hulu. We're gonna put that on here. They won't do that. That always baffled me to see that they're promoting the WWE Network and at the same time promoting Hulu, another streaming service that has their content. It's like, why are you doing this? And then working on all these exclusive movie projects and other projects with Netflix. It's like, did you forget you have your own network service that you can promote and put this shit on? And don't say, oh, well, we don't have that type of sub-audience. Of course not. And you'll never grow if you keep with this strategy. You have to put all your new projects on it. You build it, they will come.
Well, the reason why they did not put any of this stuff on the network is because of one very important thing. Money.
I know.
Money.
That's it. That's the thing. They're very corny about that. So it's whoever gives them the money is where they go, and that's it. They don't even care. They're undermining their own product. They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit.
Yes.
All right, what else, Dana? What you got? Anything else?
I was muted. Sorry. Lastly, we're going to shift over to a little bit of foosball. FXL had a huge debut for what this past week. It debuted. Really incredible. I started watching. I loved it. It was really fun. It drew 12.47 million viewers for its 4 opening week games. So that's pretty good. And it's got a lot of people talking, and one of those people talking is Antonio Brown, who has been on an apology tour as of late. People asked him, would you ever consider joining the XFL, since no one in the NFL right now wants to deal with him? He basically was very upset about even getting that question. He stated, it's a lower class football. I don't support XFL. If it ain't the highest level, man, I'm not playing. I don't want to go chill with 60 dudes every day and guys jealous because AB getting all the touchdown. AB's getting all the girls they wishing about, So you will not see Antonio Brown on the XFL field anytime at all. But who you might see is Landry Jones, who has been rumored to join the XFL.
All right. Yeah, I watched the first game. What was it? The DC team versus... That was a great match.
Yeah.
That was a great game. They were doing some amazing plays. I'm still trying to get used to some of these rules. But it was entertaining, and the crowd was really into it. So it was fun. And I think it works out great for football in general, just a sport. Because as you know, a lot of programs for younger audiences, schools, and stuff like that, they're canceling these programs due to concussions. So football in general is under a microscope, and it's given a bad rap. So the fact that it's not going against the NFL during this window, I think it works in the favor of the sport of football. If you're a football fan, you just want to watch good football, then tune in. That's it. It's not about, I only watch the NFL. We also have the Canadian Football League. That I remember when that kicked off. That's still going strong. People still watch that, and they could watch NFL. But you know what? They watch Canadian Football League. It's in Canada. That's our neighbors. You could have multiple leagues, is my point. And if it's done right, they got rid of a lot of the cheesy gimmicks, right? We don't have those names like He Hate Me and all that stuff. They're trying to...
I wish they did.
Don't bring that. That was so messy.
Yeah,
we couldn't determine who was
good.
who. Exactly. We all remember him, but there was a lot of other people that did it. And it just doesn't make sense. But people understand that the NFL, from the amount of players, we've all seen, maybe not everybody, but I know that there was that series on HBO that went behind the scenes ESPN has done where you'll see like the camps and how they would, there's a lot of players that get cut, that don't make it, that are out there, that are quality players. There's plenty of players from college, plenty of players from other leagues or from arena football that would like to play on that type of field and that type of setting, and they're quality players. They just don't make it. Well, here you go. Make it here. Make a name for yourself. There was plenty of players that made it from the last XFL into the NFL because of their performances. So don't see this as, it's either one or the other. No, there is no other. This is the NFL offseason. Go ahead. Have fun. Watch it. No one's going to judge you. I hate when I hear that. Believe me, I know, because as someone who watches soccer, we have the English Premier League. That's the king of the world when it comes to soccer leagues. It's got all the best teams and players, So besides La Liga, they have some quality there too. But still, the EPL. But I watch MLS, Major League Soccer. I was a season ticket holder for the Red Bulls for a long time, NYCFC, all that. And people would tell me, why even bother? Why do I bother? Why not? I don't live in England. I could go to this game over here in Harrison. I can't go to fucking England to watch a game for Arsenal, one of my favorite teams out there. I can't do that shit. So if I want the experience, I do it here. If I want to go and watch a game, I do it here. I want to support my country's league. I can do that. It's my choice. So you can have multiple interests. You can have multiple leagues to support. Go ahead. Support your local XFL. Go to a game. Buy a jersey. Tell a friend. It's fun. If it sucks and you don't like it, then that's it. But don't be ashamed that you're enjoying another product. It's the game that you should be championing. It's football. We love football. It's entertaining football. There you go. Keep going with it. I hope it works out. So, yes. What about you guys? Rich, do you watch football? Ricky, you watch football? I don't even know if you guys watch football.
That is a very tough question to ask. I know it's going to be tough for Ricky to answer that question, considering what happened in the NFL playoffs. But yeah, I do watch football. I haven't had a chance to watch XFL. I did see earlier today on ESPN. They actually was talking all about the XFL, and that made me interested. So I will check it out this weekend just to see how the games are. But yeah, I haven't had a chance to really check out any of the action quite yet.
All right. Who knows? Maybe Brady will show up. Who knows?
Sore subject.
Anything is possible. No, not a sure. You know what? And that's the other shit that I get into with people because from New York, you're like, Giants. Fuck that. I always like the Patriots. I like the Patriots. So for me, that was my team, and I was happy for Brady. And yeah, things didn't work out. He's gone up, but you know what? He's a legend. I don't care what anybody says. People may be like, that's bullshit. No, he is a legend in the sport of football. The man has done it. He deserves a statue over at Gillette Stadium. That's it. He's done it. Doesn't matter where else he goes. I put him in the same category as Favre, with Green Bay. Yeah, he left, went to Jets, did all the other stuff, but he'll always be known as the quarterback from Green Bay. So
yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Regardless of what he does, where he goes, his legacy's cemented.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like as far as like watching football, I really hated this season in general. Hated how it ended, of course. Not a fan of the Chiefs. I'm just kind of like on edge to see what the Patriots are going to do, if they're going to keep Brady or not, and what they'll do if they keep him. But as far as the XFL, since that's what we're focusing on here, I only saw a little bit of it, like a quarter. I think it was the Houston team was playing, and it was like the second quarter, I believe. And I didn't get the same vibe from it that I got, because I remember I watched the original XFL when they had that back in 2001, and it didn't have that same vibe. They're definitely not presenting it the same way. Like this XFL, they're trying to present it as like just straight up legit sport.
Yeah, it doesn't. They cut out all the gimmicks.
Exactly. You don't get that reality TV kind of stuff to it or whatever, and which is good. It should just be treated like a sport. But I didn't get to see a whole lot of it. I might give it another chance this weekend to see what I think. But yeah, I don't know.
It's good for the business. It's good, and some people say, well, the only time it could really be seen as competition to the NFL is if more players start joining. I understand that salaries aren't great, but it's new. What do you expect? It's pretty much a startup. Next season, if let's say the numbers are huge, we could see the salaries increase, and I'm sure that's in their contracts. That whoever has multi-year contracts, like, hey, if we do great this season, then yeah, your salary could jump up. It all depends on viewers and endorsements. They just have to prove that there's a market for it.
I don't think it'll ever be competition for the NFL. It will be but it'll be like a thing that's good for football in the sense that for players that want to get to the NFL, that's a stepping stone. That if you don't make it out of the draft, or if you're cut out of the league because you get injured too much, there's a chance to kind of rehab your image and prove yourself. It worked actually for a few players in the original XFL. The guy that had the
Murdoch, wasn't Murdoch or something? It was a quarterback. I remember he made it pretty big when he got back into the NFL.
Yeah, Tommy Maddox.
That's it, Maddox.
He was originally drafted by the Denver Broncos to be the heir apparent to John Elway, but it never turned out like that. He went to the XFL, played great, became their MVP, and then ended up leading the Pittsburgh Steelers to a playoff performance one season. So, that's it. And then there was Rod Smart, He Hate Me, who he got popular from the XFL, and he ended up playing in the Super Bowl with the Carolina Panthers. So it's a platform for players if they can take advantage of it.
When I was watching that DC game, with the Seattle DC game, they had mentioned, I don't recall the players' names, but they were like, oh yeah, this guy, he had some injuries, he got cut from his team, his NFL team, and here he is now, and he just made a touchdown. So this could revive careers. So definitely good. It's a plus.
And interestingly enough, Colin Kaepernick, they wanted him. The president wouldn't, and made a statement saying that they wouldn't mind him being in the league. They wanted him, but the problem was that he wanted $2 million, and they couldn't guarantee that because they're a startup. So
they're gonna get him. They're gonna get him because he's blackballed from the NFL, and he's still young. He could still play the game. I'd love to see him back on the field, and I'm sure once he does pop up on any team, the ratings are going to jump up just for at least for a few games, to see him return, to see if he still has it. And the support. There's going to be plenty of support. That's the other thing. So I think that's not too far off for him to ask for $2 million. And the truth, come on now, Vince has the money. Vince is throwing all this damn money at that Tyson Fury to show up at a bullshit match. He could throw $2 million to Kaepernick to bring him in to boost. Come on, there's no excuse for that shit. Just pay it up. Probably got that in his seat cushions at home or something. Come on. All right, so let's get going with this pay-per-view. There's 6 matches on this card. NXT TakeOver Portland. All right, so the first match we'll start off with. I'm following this. I don't even, the card always changes the lineup. Who knows? But the first match I'm going with here, Keith Lee, I always mess this up because I want to call him Damien Dijax because I know him from Ring of Honor, but it's Dijakovic. It doesn't roll off the tongue for me. I don't know why.
You have to use the accent. Got to do it with accent.
Oh, God, you know what it is? It doesn't roll off my tongue. My Brooklynese is too strong. I can't do it. So, there you go. Keith Lee, Dijakovic. This is a title match, North American title match. These guys have put together some bangers. I've seen them live. We've all seen them over in NXT, just killing it with the matches. 2 big guys doing freaking Spanish flies off the top rope and craziness. So I'm looking forward to this match. I really don't care who wins because they both deserve this title. So I'm just seeing this right now from what I've seen on this card. This is the one that stands out as probably going to be the highlight. So for me, I don't care who wins. I think this is going to be a banger of a match. What about you, Dana? What do you see?
Keith Lee retains, but it's going to be a very close call, and it's going to be a superb match either way.
Yeah. All right, Rich, what about you?
It's definitely Keith Lee. There's no other. As far as it being a close match, sure, it could be close, but no, Keith Lee has a lot of momentum. So yeah, he's definitely going to win this. No doubt about it.
Ricky?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with all of you as far as Keith Lee retaining. I think it just makes the most sense. He just recently got the belt. You'll want to be able to showcase him as a champion. Him and Dijakovic have pretty great chemistry together, and put on some great matches, and I expect more of the same with that. The only way that we may get an upset is if there are bigger plans for Keith Lee, pretty aggressive plans, but we won't know that until around WrestleMania time. But I'd say for now, Keith Lee retains.
Yeah, I think it would be a mistake if they just decide to take it off him and pull him up. And then I get it, because Royal Rumble, he got a big reaction when he came out. And that was priceless with Brock pointing at him and saying, who's this big motherfucker? You can read his mouth when he said that. It's like, who's this? And who knows? That could have been legit. Maybe he didn't see everybody in the back. And he was like, all right, you're going to be tossing everybody that comes out until what's his name, does his Claymore kick to the face. But, man, that... Yeah, it does. Either way, I think it's going to be a good match. I agree. It doesn't really matter who wins. I think Keith Lee will retain, but it's going to be a fun match. All right, so the next one is a street fight. This, I don't know. I'm not into it. It's whatever. It's Dakota Kai versus Tegan Knox. That was her tag partner. I think she's also from either Australia or New Zealand, because Dakota's from New Zealand. Not sure if Knox is also there or just Australia. That's a neighboring area, but I know they were a tag team. They're friends.
Tegan Knox is from Wales.
Oh, she's from Wales? Shit, I'm way off. Forget that. All right. I just remember that they were friends before this, and seeing pictures from the indies that they did shows together, so I just assumed. But yeah, but if you watched the last, what was it? It was a War Games. That's where this feud began, where they were locked in the cage and they were getting ready to come out, and she just beat the shit out of Dakota Kai. Beat the shit out of Knox, started smashing up her leg. Knox has a history of injuries on her legs, so this was definitely her turning heel. And here we go. Now we got a street fight. But I don't think it's... Dakota Kai she's fun to watch, but this whole heel turn, it's just not doing it for me. I don't know what it is. I liked her previous gimmick, which is sort of kind of jumpy and happy, Bailey-ish, but something about it worked. This doesn't work for me, so I'm not really invested in this. So whoever wins, it doesn't matter. Everything points, if we go to the history of WWE and how they do these feuds, that Knox is going to get her comeuppance. Right? That's what's going to happen. It's a street fight, unless Kai has some buddies that come out and help. But that's where this is pointing. So I'll just say, just to keep with the push of making her heel, let's say Dakota Kai pulls something off and then she wins this. But I'll just go with Kai. What about you, Ricky? What do you think about this match?
Yeah, I think that usually when someone goes heel, it's because they plan to give them a little bit of a push, and I think that's going to be the case here. Is that Kai should be able to win. I kind of agree with you that I saw her kind of as like a Bailey light.
Yeah.
And it really surprised me when she went heel. I'm like, why are they doing this? And they're doing it at the same time that they had Bailey turn heel. Like maybe Vince is just in a really bad mood and just hates everything, so he wants all the natural baby faces to turn heel.
Do you remember when Dakota Kai got hurt when she was having that feud with Shayna? And she got hurt, and then she came back and she was winning all her matches and said she wasn't scared of Shayna and she was going to face her again. And then she lost that one, and then next we get this. Whereas, like, I guess it was like, well, that's it. There's nothing else you could do, and we're just gonna turn you heel.
I hate to interrupt. I just want to make a comment and then continue. Both of you can continue. I will say that I appreciate the build up to this. This didn't just happen because they told a story of how she eventually turned heel. So we have to give them credit for that at least. Because I don't think if she was on the main roster, they would have even taken the time to really flesh that out as a storyline.
Yeah, no, I get that. It's just something about it doesn't feel right. I don't buy her as a heel. That's my issue. Like Shayna is 100% heel. You wouldn't even have to tell me she's a heel. Just looking at her, I would say, oh, she's the bad guy. That's it. Dakota Kai, they can give her all the new hairstyle and makeup they want. It just doesn't do it for me. It's just
like, oh, that's adorable.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, wow, look at you. But no, I don't see it. It just doesn't pull it off. I don't know.
Because Dakota Kai has kind of a natural charisma to her that makes you want to pull for her, and it's like you can't really.
Whoa!
We might have a disagreement here, but so I'm interested to hear what Dana has to think about this.
All right, Dana, what you got on this one?
What fantasy land are you guys living in? I hated that happy gimmick. It felt like a really corny, cheesy Bayley ripoff, and I didn't even like Bayley's gimmick. This one here, I like her being the heel. She has more personality for me as a heel. That whole happy thing that she did previously was very one note. So for me, I am very happy to see her be this like vicious former best friend who's now in these streets trying to kill everyone. It works. And I like to see that, and I want to see more of that. And I think that she's going to actually win so that we can continue on with this storyline. And right now, before it gets a little stale, I am still interested in this. Okay. I think that there needs to be... I would appreciate if there was more people on Dakota's side so that it's not that boring, stale, bad guy versus good guy. Maybe, there's some bad guys who's like, yeah, we're tired of always being in the background. And we're for Tegan.
Well, you know what? If the rumors are true that Shayna is gone pretty much and she's getting called up, they're going to need another group leader of a heel faction. So I could easily see that with Kai. And if she wins this, since it is a street fight, anything goes. Like I mentioned when I gave my prediction, somebody can run in and help her out. And there you go.
I would like that. And that works for me because I just like that personality way better, and even the costumes and the hair design is just way better than it was before. So for me, I'm gonna go with Dakota, and I want them to continue this, and I want a very good match come the NXT for WrestleMania.
All right. And Rich, what about you? What do you got on this?
Yeah, so one point worth mentioning: Dakota Kai won the Future Star of the Year NXT award.
When she was a babyface.
No, she won that this year, January 1st.
Fake news. Don't believe you.
Yes. Because the video is currently on YouTube, WWE NXT. But I agree pretty much with everything that Dana said. I like Dakota Kai. I like the fact that they told this story. I think, obviously, this is who needs to win the match, because I also think about the fact if you're going to have Rhea Ripley as the champion, you have to have heels ready for her to face after she's done with Bianca, who is probably going to get moved to the main roster.
Don't put that in that act.
Hey, no, jumping the gun. The gun.
Well, we'll see, but I will say the fact that her husband is already on the main roster, I think that is
and a sign. And they're not doing anything with him.
Oh, of course they aren't.
Wait,
but
they can do
that.
Montez Ford.
Oh, no. I thought you were talking about Dakota Kai.
No.
Oh, no.
This was
about Bianca.
Bianca.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. So we'll get into more of that later. But to stay on this topic, Dakota Kai is going to win this. She needs to win it. Tegan Nox can lose it or win it, whatever. But I think Dakota Kai is who they want you to focus on. So she should win this match.
Yeah. All right, Dakota Kai. You got some winners there. All right, so the next one. This one should be fun too. This is a title match. This is Adam Cole, baby, versus Tommaso Ciampa trying to bring Goldie home. A part of me sees Ciampa bringing Goldie home. It just makes sense. I don't see how long Undisputed Era can last. Only because Adam Cole, his stock has risen to the point that it's time for him just for the matchups. Not so much of, he needs to go elsewhere. He's bigger than... No. I just want to see some more matchups. He's already faced all these competitors here, top guys here multiple times. And once that's done, it's time to move on. I want to see some new matchups. So I definitely see Adam Cole moving on from here. But I think Ciampa is going to win this title, and he's going to bring Goldie home. And we've already heard the interviews with Tommaso talking about this is it for him, meaning NXT. He has no plans of ever wanting to go up to Raw or SmackDown. He wants to just stay NXT through and through, and that's fine because this is now officially a brand. It's not just a stepping stone to the main roster. And I'm sure, and we've heard it with Triple H, he said he was cool with that comment. And I'm sure he wished he would hear that from other wrestlers on the roster. Because, hey, this could be your show. There's plenty of wrestlers that just stick that on Raw or whatever, don't even ask to be moved. We hear it all the time during a draft. They were like, I didn't ask to be drafted. I found out when everybody else found out. They sent my ass somewhere else. So if Ciampa gets it to the point where, hey, I don't have to go anywhere. I can live in Florida and I can do these shows and make a decent living and be a mainstay on a brand, I think people would be cool with it, and obviously he wants to do it. So go ahead, give it to him, let him have the title. So I pick Ciampa. What about you, Rich? What do you pick?
Yeah, I pretty much agree. I would not be surprised if Ciampa did win this because I feel like Adam Cole has accomplished a lot with Undisputed Era. I mean, if he loses the title, I don't think it's going to be a big deal. And, of course, he can get a rematch if he wants because I'm pretty sure they're going to have another takeover for WrestleMania. So, yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with Tommaso Ciampa winning, but I will say that I definitely want to see which direction they're going to take that because I do think another match on this particular card is also going to be a future matchup as far as who wins that match, which we'll get into later. But yeah, I'd say my pick is Tommaso Ciampa also.
See, what gets complicated with Adam Cole and the Undisputed Era is that they are a 4-member group, and it's a powerful group in NXT. Yeah. And if you bring one of them up, whether it's a tag team or Roderick Strong or Adam Cole, they need the rest of the group to remain strong. Yeah. You can't just bring one, is my point. So if Adam Cole does go up, then the whole group needs to go. And to bring some kind of relevance. And they're treating this group like the Four Horsemen. The way WCW had the Four Horsemen. And that was the thing. If one goes, they all go. That's how you have to do this. Now, we see with Shayna, she had her little group, but they just brought her up. It looks like they're just bringing her up and not the other two. But the other two were still green. No one really cared, right? This is different. You know, Bobby Fish and his tag team partner, and there's quality here. There's a lot of quality. Roderick Strong, Alex Riley. They're quality wrestlers. People know them. People want to see them. So if you bring up Adam Cole and you're bringing up the entire Undisputed Era, you're bringing up that whole group, and you can't leave them. Because then it'll always be like, oh, well, Adam Cole is on the main roster. How do you do that? You can't not acknowledge that their leader is gone. Can't do that. So they have to all go, and that's a big hole to fill because you got to fill these other spots. You got to fill a good mid-range wrestler, which is Roderick Strong, who had the North American title, and he competes in that realm. And then, of course, a quality tag team. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do it. But like you said, I agree. Same thing. Ciampa, I think, deserves it for the fans, for the brand, and for himself. I think it works. All right, Ricky, what about you? Oh, wait, you still have something to say, Rich?
Oh, yeah, let me just add one very quick point before we go to Ricky. If, for any reason, Adam Cole retains this and wins this match, he's definitely going to lose it at the next TakeOver with WrestleMania right there. And that will be the final domino to drop to let you know, okay, maybe Undisputed Era are going to get moved. But We'll see what happens. Because I mean, again, I have to agree. I'm a little surprised this match isn't more than a singles match because of all the attacks that Tommaso Ciampa has done on Undisputed Era. I feel like this match should be more than just a singles match, but it's not. So we'll see what happens.
In a cage or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Ricky? What do you got for this one?
So I posed to you this idea. You mentioned about if Adam Cole gets, sent up to Raw or SmackDown, that the whole group has to come with him. That's not the case if Cole is kicked out of the group. Yeah. What if Roderick Strong decides he's going to be the leader, and they agree with him, and they kick Cole out of the group, and now it's just a 3-man group. They stay down in NXT. Cole goes up to Raw or SmackDown. They could do that, although I think it's unlikely. I think that any kind of split like that would happen on Raw or SmackDown. They wouldn't do that on NXT. Also because I think that all 4 of them are ready to get fresh matchups. So with that in mind, I also agree with Rich that once Cole drops that belt, it's because Undisputed Era is ready to move on to newer matchups, whether it be Raw or SmackDown. I don't think it's going to happen Sunday. I think Cole's going to retain, but that Ciampa will get another shot for WrestleMania weekend for that takeover, and I think that's when he'll get Goldie back. So I'm going to say Cole retains for now, but Ciampa will get it back at the next chance that he gets.
My fear with Ciampa is his neck. He's had so many injuries, especially surgeries with that neck, that how much longer can he go? I sort of, in my head, I put him in the same category as Edge, in the same situation. It's like you're one match away from really just fucking all this up. So that's why I'm thinking he may just get the title, give it to him, have him run it, do the whole thing. Because with the title, then he can justify doing the promos and appearances and do all that type of stuff. If he doesn't have it, he's always chasing it. I don't know. It puts him in harm's way and in meaningless matches to work toward a title shot. I hopefully his neck is 100%. I don't know, but I know he's had multiple surgeries on this neck. So.
Yeah, the neck is definitely a concern, and you're right that like any wrong hit that he takes could be the last that he does in his career. But when you look at it this way, whether he wins the belt on Sunday or is unsuccessful, he's still planning on wrestling until he no longer can. And whether that's going to be, WrestleMania weekend, whether that's going to be SummerSlam weekend, we don't know. It could be next year. Who knows? He's going to go as long as he can. The other thing that kind of puts that kind of adds a wrinkle to this is the recent return of One Velveteen Dream. And if he's feuding with the Undisputed Era, he's going to have a say in this whole title picture, I think, and possibly for Tampa. So that's why, I'm not entirely sure that Cole will drop it, because if Ciampa has the belt and Dream wants to go for it, now you have Ciampa versus Dream, and that's not exactly something that they've built up towards, I don't think. But
they had that feud for a while, remember, and Ciampa won that one. They had that at War Games.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a little bit of that. I think history. They might do a thing. They might do like a 3-way where it's Cole against Ciampa versus Dream. They could do something like that for WrestleMania weekend. But
remember, there's something else like that. Well, later on, there's another match that could throw a wrench in all this. To make it a 4-way.
We'll get into that. I'll be pulling for Ciampa. I would really like to see him get Goldie back. I'm hoping that Ciampa will get it. I have a feeling it's going to be Cole's going to retain, but we'll see.
Gotcha. All right, Dana, what about you? You hyped for this match? Who's winning?
I think it's going to be a great match overall, just in general. I think the real winner is going to be Britt Baker's facial expressions.
You think she's going to be there?
Why not?
Or at least on camera, because of the whole controversy of her facial expressions before. I think that drew a lot of unwanted attention. So if anything, I think she might be there, but maybe she won't be in the audience. She'll just stay backstage.
I don't see any problem with her being on there. Wasn't she on there like twice before?
Yeah, but it was that last one, the War Games one, that the camera panned over to her, and we heard the expression, "Oh, look at this! Look at her face! Oh." And then the
fine. I think what the problem was not so much the fans; it was the actual commentators.
Mm-hmm.
Like your own WWE staff is pointing it out. So that was their own doing. So I think that they should just not say anything and let Britt Baker be there. And if the camera goes to her, it goes to her.
Did they say she was a wrestler? I don't remember. I remember when they panned over, and he said it was the fiance.
She was always identified as girlfriend.
The girlfriend, yeah, because but you know what? For story wise, it makes sense because just like if you recall, many years ago, when Mankind was taking the chair shots from The Rock, and they panned to the family and to see the kids cry and all stuff. That's very impactful for the story. So when the camera panned over and probably saw her reaction of like, oh shit, this is getting crazy, it made sense. Yeah, but obviously the fact that she's a wrestler in another promotion adds another element to it and makes things
that also again. No, I don't think it makes it complicated. I think it draws actually more attention because in the sense of viewership, what's Britt Baker going to do? Are they going to acknowledge Britt Baker? Same thing is why Sami Zayn went and asked me about AEW. He knew exactly what he was doing as well as WWE. And that's when people, that's when it started making the headlines. Oh my God, they acknowledged AEW's existence. So that's fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. So they didn't say her name. They didn't say Britt Baker. They just said the girlfriend.
They never said Britt Baker. They said girlfriend. But we just knew who she was. Yeah, but in regards to this match, I do not want Adam Cole to get called up just because WWE's SmackDown and Raw is just a hot mess right now, so don't do that. Yeah. But I would like to see Ciampa win, but I don't think now. I think WrestleMania would be better suited for him getting Goldie back. All right. So we're going to go with Adam Cole.
Adam Cole, baby. All right, so the next match we have, and it's the tag team title match. Undisputed Era versus the Bruiserweights, which I think it's a cool name. Right, the Broserweights, sorry. Broserweights. That's cool. I like that. It worked. Right? No? Maybe?
No, it works.
It works. But the issue I have here is that these are two great, on the Broserweight side, two great indie solo wrestlers, single wrestlers. So I don't see them. Maybe they'll get the title if the predictions that I have of Adam Cole leaving and bringing Undisputed with him, the tag team with him and Roderick Strong, then it would make sense. But if not, then they retain. So it's tricky with this. I just don't. Yeah, it could go either way, but I would have to say that the Broserweights they win this. And they get their run. They're over with the crowd. The crowd seems to like them. They have their cool little tag team name already. And if they're not doing this, what else are they doing? What is Pete Dunne doing that he hasn't already done? You know what I mean? He's unless they throw him in a title picture for right now, I don't think that's. You have too many faces right there. There's too many competing in that market for it. He had the NXT UK, the longest in history. I think one of the longest title hit runs in the promotion of WWE in general, right? With one of the things that they were promoting for a while when he had it, that he's in the record book. So there goes that. Matt Riddle can call out Brock or whoever the hell he wants, but I think this is where he's at. And I don't see anything else for either men outside of this tag team that they have. So if you're giving them the push, they won that tag team tournament. Then, yeah, go for it. Let them win the tag titles and see what happens. Just let them, just give it to them. Because what else are they doing right now? So it just makes sense on that end. And then that also points to the Undisputed Era just moving up or doing something else. Because they just recently won that belt back, right? They didn't have the belt before. Who was it?
Right.
So if they're going to lose it this quick, then it has to be for a reason. And I think the reason would be that they go with Adam Cole. That's it. If they win, then that's not happening. And who knows? Maybe they go down the road that Ricky said, and Adam Cole loses, and they're like, "Hey, you're a loser. What do you mean?" And they just beat the shit out of him, real cheesy in the back, and then they don't put him in a dumpster, and and that's it. And he's out, and we don't see him for a few weeks. And next, he shows up with a haircut and some tattoos, and he looks just like CM Punk. I'm like, "Oh, CM Punk is back," and he could be the CM Punk 2 clone because he looks so much like CM Punk. Holy shit! So, so that's it. I'll pick the Broserweights. What about you, Dana? What do you pick?
I picked the Broserweights as well. They're having a really great momentum right now. They did win the Dusty Rhodes Classics, and unlike other brands, they're actually utilizing people who won their tournaments. So I see them winning. It would be really good, and it's a little bit refreshing. I love the Undisputed Era, but it would be more refreshing to have the Bruiserweights win some belts.
Yeah, new crew. Yeah. What about you, Rich?
Yeah, a very fun fact that I haven't heard anybody mention yet. Matt Riddle hasn't won any titles yet in NXT. So I think that definitely needs to change, and it needs to change on Sunday night. I do agree that it doesn't appear to me that they have anything else left for Matt Riddle or Pete Dunne on their own. However, I will say that I do kind of feel once they win these titles, and eventually after they lose these titles in the future, that could be a feud right there between Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne if they decide to go down that route. But for now, yeah, the Broserweights definitely, in my opinion, are going to win. No doubt about it on Sunday.
All right, Ricky?
Yeah, I would say, heading into this show, I wasn't quite sure. I thought that maybe that Era would retain. But we've seen them with the tag belts for quite a while. This is this second or third reign with it. We know what we got with them. Broserweights are something fresh and new. And like you said, while they're both great singles talents, there's nothing really for them other than this tag team right now. So it would be a great chance to kind of get something fresh. And, you can see it where, I see Undisputed Era being part of that TakeOver card for WrestleMania weekend. I see all of them being part of that. But it would be telegraphing it maybe too much if they all went in as champs and then dropped it all that same night. So while I think Adam Cole retains his belt, it might be time for Fish and O'Reilly to drop theirs and try to win it back unsuccessfully at the next TakeOver. So I'll say, so I'm with you guys. I'll say Broserweights are your new champs.
All right.
Yep. Perfect. Yep. Right. Perfect explanation. I agree.
There you go. And the next match, I think this is also going to be one that could steal the show. Finn Balor versus Johnny Gargano. This is a singles match, no stipulations, nothing crazy here. It's just going to be a straight straightforward match, and I think this is going to be a quality match. Both of them can go. Both of them can really work. They can both get very technical when they want to, and I think they're going to have plenty of time to do their work in this match. I don't see any real shenanigans. I know they're playing off Finn Balor sort of like in a heel role, right? He sort of comes off like heels, but I don't see him pulling any cheap shots on this one. So I think I see Finn Balor winning this clean, only because they're giving him this huge push now that he's back in NXT, and I think that eventually he will play a part for the title, in the title picture with Tommaso Ciampa, if Adam Cole's still around, Adam Cole, and Velveteen Dream. I think he's going to play some kind of role in that. I could easily see that happening. But I definitely see Finn Balor going over. He's just right now such a big name. He's a big name. He's back, and they want to give him that push. So I pick Finn Balor to win this one and to move on toward the title. All right. What about you, Rich?
Yeah, this is one match where, once again, given how, intense the rivalry has been, I would have thought this would have been some type of special match, whether it's like Extreme Rules or Hardcore or whatever, and it's just a regular match, which is fine. But, yeah, I agree 100%. Finn Balor is going to roll right over Johnny Gargano because Finn Balor is on momentum. And if you recall, ever since he's came back to NXT, he's been on a winning streak, but he lost the title match with Adam Cole because of the interference of Johnny Gargano. So he's going to get that back now by beating Johnny Gargano at TakeOver.
Yep. What about you, Ricky?
I think Finn Balor is going to murder Johnny Gargano. I can't. I think he's pissed. He is pissed. I definitely like the feud that those two have. It's going to be an excellent match. It's one I'm looking forward to maybe the most, other than maybe the Cole Ciampa one. But I'll say Finn Balor wins this and keeps that momentum riding.
I just wonder if he's gonna. Well, I shouldn't wonder because I don't think it's gonna happen. But it'd be cool if Finn Balor came out as the Demon, if he brought that character back. But I don't think that's gonna happen ever. I think that's done. I don't know. What about you, Dana? What do you have for this one?
I don't think that the Demon is gone. I think he'll pop up during special occasions.
Well, this is a pay-per-view. Usually you would think that would be the special occasion.
It's not the big pay-per-views like WrestleMania, Royal Rumbles, those ones. It's the littler ones that are attached.
Little ones.
And the little ones, it's like, worlds collide. It's a little baby.
Yeah.
But overall, I'm enjoying this new Finn Balor, which is basically the old Finn Balor before he got
even calling him the Prince. They're calling him.
Yeah, this is old Finn Balor, and he got his smile back, and he's good, and I like his aggressive side. I know that. Are you okay?
You just triggered something. Because when you just said about the old, and then this goes to what Ricky was saying about them kicking out Adam Cole, and then this would be it. Finn Balor becomes the new leader of Undisputed Era. And there you go. Then he has his whole crew, and problem solved, and Adam is gone.
There you go. That works as well. Not what
That's a possibility.
To that extent.
He has that experience of running a group, so.
That is true. I like that.
All right.
So I do overall see Finn winning.
You see Finn, yeah.
I would appreciate if it was like a gimmick match, but it's not.
Yeah, they're light on the gimmicks on this one, which could be 50-50. It depends on the matches. Usually you put the gimmicks just to make things a little more entertaining if you feel that the match isn't going to be enticing enough. Like the Dakota and Knox match. It's a street fight match because they're like, a regular match, not for what they were trying to pull with the story and stuff. It makes sense. All right, so then this is our last match. This is the main event of the evening. And this one... Oh man, I gotta say, now that I think about it, after we did this rundown of the card, I've been on the fence, which for a lot of them, and I think that's a good sign because anything can go in this and it makes things entertaining. Because here's another one: we got Rhea Ripley, the champion, going against Biana Belair. This is for the title. This is big. This is big because Belair, she's been there. She deserves it. We've seen her grow. We've seen her improve. We've seen the backstories about her being a gymnast, and we know her struggles, and she's a perfectionist, and she wants to, when she goes all in on something, this is what she wants to do, and here it is. She wanted all in on wrestling, and she's doing it. If you were to grab somebody who watched wrestling and hasn't watched for a while, but's familiar with it, and say, all right, take a look at this, they would think she's been doing this for decades. She comes off very genuine of like, yeah, this is what I've been doing with my life. You've never guessed that she hasn't been doing it for that long, and that her first real experience is here at the NXT. She's quality. She's good, and she's super strong. She is jacked. She can go. But then again, you got Rhea Ripley. That's the golden child right now. She's got the look. She's got the streak. they got all these plans for her. They're making it apparent that they have all these plans for her by her popping up on Raw and doing all the other things. And, she got the win over at Survivor Series, her group, and they're giving her a huge push. So what do you do? Rich hinted that, well, as we know, that her husband, Bianca Belair's husband, he's part of, what's his name in Street Profits? I forgot his name.
Montez Ford.
Montez Ford. And they've been called up. So it makes sense. They like to keep couples together, especially if they want to make them happy so they don't leave. So they're
very happy without them being called up together. Nothing but happy photos.
No, not them. But I'm just saying that usually they try to do this because they don't want any disputes of like, oh, well, my contract's up. I want to leave. You separated me from my husband or girlfriend or whatever. And then they use that as a reason to want to get out. But it's tricky. It's very tricky with this one. But, man, I say Ripley, she just retains. And it sucks because I do want to see Bianca win this. But I feel like it's too soon, not with the push that they're putting on Ripley, man. They put that rocket on her, and she's just flying all over the place. So I don't see her dropping this title. It just doesn't fit in the narrative. So I'd say Ripley, even though I want Belair to win this. What about you, Rich? You mentioned this one. What do you think is going to happen here?
All right, so after watching NXT this week, at the very end of the episode, we saw that Bianca Belair, she beat down, Rhea Ripley. And normally, if you watch a WWE program, whoever is the person that gets beat down at the end of the TV show or whatever, that's the person that loses on the actual match when they have the match. So I will say this. Rhea Ripley, she just won the belt. She has a ton of momentum on her back. So my instinct is to believe that, yes, she definitely has a chance to win this match. But the reason why I understand when you say it's tricky is because they have this thing where when Charlotte showed up, they kept saying, oh, well, she was overlooking Bianca Belair. And Bianca Belair stated that once again this week on NXT, that she felt as though she's being overlooked.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like what I'm going to give you my quick scenario of what is going to happen. I feel like Rhea Ripley is either she's going to straight up win this match, or Charlotte is going to interfere in the match and cause a disqualification, which will lead to them possibly having a triple threat at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too, and I was like, man, but if they do that, if most likely this will be the main event on the card, do they really want to go down that road? Do they really want to do another disqualification title? We see all the backlash on the main roster when they do that for main events. Do you want to do that here?
I don't want them to do that, but the fact that they both attacked Charlotte when she showed up at NXT, it kind of feels like, well, if Charlotte could wait for there to be a decisive winner, but either way, she's definitely going to be involved in this match. If she doesn't interfere right after the match is over, I expect her to come in there and beat down both of them.
Yeah, it could happen. All right. So, Ricky, what about you? What do you think is going to happen in this one?
I think we'll see Rhea retain. But I kind of agree with you that you can't risk having Bianca just kind of fade in the background. She's too important. Like Charlotte obviously makes things a little complicated here because it seemed like they were teasing, Rhea versus Charlotte one-on-one. But now that Charlotte's come into NXT and done it, and they've had Bianca attack also, Bianca's going to have a say in this, and we might end up seeing that triple threat happen at WrestleMania. And if that does happen, I hope Bianca ends up taking it at that point. I mean, I'm going to be rooting for her Sunday, for Bianca to win it, but I agree that I think that that Rhea just won it off of, the most dominant female champion in NXT history, Shayna Baszler. So it would kind of look bad if they had Rhea drop it so quickly. Just give her a couple more months until Tampa to drop it then to Bianca, hopefully. But Yeah, I'll say for now, Rhea retains. Whether it's clean or Charlotte interference or what have you. I want to say unrelated to this match, Adam, that you're right that the Demon King is dead because the Fiend killed him at SummerSlam.
Right?
Well, hold on. Let me just make a real quick comment, and then you can go to Dana. I just want to add this point in. I find it very interesting how Charlotte Flair was on WWE Backstage a couple days ago, and she had nothing but high praise for Bianca Belair. That's what leads me to believe if it's not a triple threat that happens between these three at WrestleMania, you're definitely going to see Charlotte and her facing each other right after WrestleMania. I feel that's coming, but we'll see which direction they take it
in. Yeah. Oh man, it's one of those situations because if you want to keep Bianca to look strong, the only way you can do that is to have Flair interfere and cause an interference, so that way she doesn't get pinned and this early on, especially when it looks like she's going to be competing for a title. So, what do you do, Dana? What do you think's going to happen?
Okay, so here's the thing: Bianca deserved the belt the moment that she killed Carmella. During that invasion when everyone was stuck in Saudi Arabia. Remember when she kind of threw her into the dumpster and then we never saw her for like a good 2 weeks? That was incredible. But I do feel that she is going to come in to cause a disqualification. I'm slightly confused about how they're doing this. Are they just every once in a while they're going to start mixing people from all the brands? Or is this going to lead to a call-up? Because right now the women's division on Raw and on SmackDown is a hot mess. It's boring, to be honest. And they do need fresh blood. I just don't want her blood. But they do need something to help that division. So maybe this will end up being some kind of call-up. Or just a brand switch, since they're not doing call-ups anymore. A brand switch. I don't know how they're handling this. But I do see Bianca being some form of a distraction and is going to end up having Rhea Ripley win the belt. Retain the belt. I don't see her losing anytime soon just because of how hard they went for her and how they had her, again, beat one of the baddest women on the show, which is Shayna Baszler. I don't exactly know what they're doing with Shayna Baszler just in general. That whole bite thing is ridiculous. But I would like for Bianca to get the belt soon. Maybe in the next couple of months, maybe 6 months, 8 months, I don't know. But for right now, I don't really see that happening. But she is going to be a factor.
You bring up a good point about the whole women division NXT running a little flat. And it would be cool, now that they have these three and they're seeing them as brands, if they could see them more as territories. And in the territory days, one brand, one promotion would hire a wrestler for a few months. Like, hey, you're going to be here. We're booking you for 3 to 6 months. Do some shows, do some feuds. These are things we have lined up for you. And then once you're done, you leave, and that's it. And then you'll maybe come back to reprise that feud or do something else. But still, and they should do that. We should see wrestlers pop up, and not just for one-offs, but do a feud, do something, keep things fresh, and then they could bounce off and go back to wherever they were from or go to another show. Just everyone rotate around. I don't understand why they need to have this label and this attachment. I get for TV purposes, for Fox or whatever, that some big names, they have to be there, like Roman Reigns and The Fiend and stuff like that, because they paid for it. But for other wrestlers that are on the card, like we've seen this happen a little bit with Cesaro, where he popped up in the NXT UK pay-per-view. Even Finn Balor did at one point. But just do that on for a longer term, maybe 2-3 months, or just to do a feud, 2 shows and a pay-per-view event at the end. Dude, it spices things up, and they have the talent to do it, especially if there's a lot of talent that's not doing anything on their brand. It was like, hey, I got this idea. Let me go down to NXT. Let me start some trouble. Let me do this, do that. Or let me go to Raw and pick a fight with somebody there. And it'll throw a curveball. It's a win-win for the fans. It's a win-win for the wrestlers that aren't doing much. I don't know why they don't implement something like that. See it as territories, because that's what made the territories fun.
It would be even more fun if they actually used all of the 200 wrestlers that they keep hiring.
That's the issue. People. That's the issue. They have so many of these talent guys just sitting in the back. They're collecting checks. They're not doing much.
And after that whole quarterly report where we're seeing them basically bleeding money, because you're signing all these people afraid of going to AEW.
You know what? When you bring up the whole thing with the bleeding money and the numbers, and it still baffles me that they're offering so much money to the Revival. I just don't see it. I don't see it. Because
they know, I think it's a mix of they know that they really want to go, and also they would be, while they're not big here, they would be really big in AEW.
Really? Do you think so? What would make them so big? What stands out? What do you think stands out that you're like, holy shit, if they go to AEW,
they're
they will be king of the world?
Tag team, and they're not being utilized at all, and they can be even greater if they left. Even if it was Joe Small's Billy Welfare Wrestling ring, they would be better.
I would like to make a comment, and this might be a bit controversial, but I have to make this comment. I think the match that the Revival had when they went back to NXT to face the Undisputed Era, that is the best match that I've seen them have in recent memory. And that shows you, because you see how they were used in NXT, then you look at how they're used on the main roster. So that's why I say they definitely deserve to be somewhere where they can do a lot more creatively. So, yeah, they should leave and go to AEW.
Even if they have to leave. Even just on NXT, but they have to get off of SmackDown.
And that's fine. My whole thing is just the money. It's like, why do they throw all this money? Just let them go. Let them go. I just don't see them worth it. They're a solid tag team. I give them that. But when it comes to the money that are rumored, or well, I guess not a rumor because Booker T sort of confirmed. What was it, $700K each at the time? That's ridiculous. He said he would take that money and do whatever they asked. That's a lot of money, because I don't think AEW would offer that type of money to them, and I don't think it's about the money for them. I think it's about creativity and what they want to do. They have ideas and plans, and it's really sad that that's what's going to lead to their exit. If they think these are good ideas, let's say if you, at least in my employer and some other people's employers, it's usually encouraged with management. Hey, you got some ideas? Come on in. Let's talk about it. It kind of sucks when you work in a company, especially like WWE, where it's all about being creative, and they're not listening to any of your ideas. I just can't believe that. And that you're losing talent because you refuse to listen to their ideas, yet the ratings say otherwise, that you should, because no one gives a shit about your current product, which means that it's not entertaining. So at that point, I would have a meeting and say, hey, I'm going to sit here for the next 2 hours, or an hour and a half, because he's an older guy regarding Vince. And whoever has ideas, come on in. I'll start a little clock, and let's hear it go. I'll have the writers in the room, and then just pitch whatever you think your character should be doing. And we'll see.
Even Brock was like, there were times when they didn't listen to him. And they're giving him literally all the money in the world. And he keeps pushing to do a storyline with Raw Truth.
Yeah.
So if they're not listening to him and they're just shelling out money, they're not going to listen to the Revival. And I think even the thing with Dean Ambrose, let's be honest, Dean Ambrose wasn't necessarily the big draw of the company. But when he went to AEW, and even when he went to New Japan, he excelled more because it is that freedom. So in regards to the Revival, again, they're not big draws, but creatively, they have the ability to be that way, but they just, I feel, want to keep hampering actual talent because they know that they're going to be able to have that freedom elsewhere. We're not going to get creative shows until Vince dies, unless he somehow puts it in his will and the grave is still going to be sucky.
Man, all right, so let's say if this happens, that means they're losing potentially 2 big stars. I'm counting the tag team as just 1. So 2 if you add Matt Hardy leaving. Because we know for a fact when he goes to AEW, he will be a big star because he will revive his broken gimmick and do whatever he does, and that's gonna get over. So
that's why they still keep holding him. But
that's the thing. If I'm at that point and I'm gonna say, well, which one should I keep? I'm gonna keep Matt Hardy and then give him creative control and say, hey, we know that gimmick works. I still think it worked in WWE. I think it was selling in merch, and he had that special on the network. Remember that Halloween special? Hmm? Vince may have not understood it, but it was still over with the crowd. The crowd loved it. Even when he was still doing the tag gimmick with Bray Wyatt, it was still over. If it wasn't that he got hurt, that probably still would have been going on, and we probably wouldn't have had the Fiend.
I don't
because wasn't that the whole issue, right? Like, that stopped when he got hurt.
Yeah, creatively that works for him. But the thing is, Vince doesn't see it that way, and Vince is the be-all, do-all. They have this guy coming out to his music from the 2000s.
I know it's disgusting. Like even the image for that match for tonight with Randy Orton, it shows a picture of him with the streak in his hair and the smile. It doesn't fit. I don't like this. If you're gonna make him go do a throwback version of Matt Hardy, then tell him to dye his hair completely. Let's kill off any remnants of the Woken. And this is why, again, in my head, I just don't think he's going to leave. I think this is all leading to him bumping his head again and going back to broken because of the ass whippings that he's taking from Randy Orton right now.
He's leaving.
Well, there you go. Yeah, he's all right. So then, if he leaves,
maybe is like freaking out online.
When is all right? So his contract's up in March, right? That's one thing we know. It's up in March. What about the revival? Is theirs also up in March? It's sometime this year.
It's sometime this year.
Right. So it's not as soon as March.
No, because remember they kept extending it.
Yeah, they kept extending it. And then we know that Jeff Hardy, he can't leave because they added on time because of the rehab and all that stuff. And that's how it works. If you're out on medical, whatever, they just stop the clock. And then when you get back, that's when they count. They don't count the time that you're out on leave because they don't want people to drain it. And then just like say, I'm done. I'm not coming back. And my contract expired, so peace. They don't want that. That's why they do this. So...
I read that the Revival's contract ended in April, but that Dash Waller had 10 extra weeks added on for him.
Okay, well that's not too bad. 10 extra weeks, so you could still have where they're gone and then start doing the new promos and all that stuff. He just can't wrestle. They could start working on that. Because, I mean, it's a guarantee. It's a no-brainer. I mean, people are like, oh, well, not everybody's going to go to AEW. Then you're right. Not everybody will go to AEW. But key people will. We definitely know Matt Hardy's would be a perfect fit if he went there. We know the Revival, definitely. And we also know Luke Harper. Right? That's a no-brainer because Cody even said he would love to have him. So, and I think his clause, his no-compete, that ends in March also. So, it's going to be interesting. Well, that is the card for NXT TakeOver Portland. There's some good matches, some good bangers, some quality matches. This is one to watch. Now, is this something that worth ordering the pay-per-view at NXT? The WWE Network? I don't know. It's up to you. It's up to how you want to see it.
Just do WrestleMania and Royal Rumble. I mean, and after what Ricky said, this is just depressing.
Yeah. So, I mean... whatever, it's still fun. It's just going to be a good show. I'm going to watch it. I'm looking forward to it. A lot of these matches are going to be quality wrestling matches, and that's the cool thing with it. It's not so much of the gimmicks. I mentioned earlier, it was like, oh, it's not that I think they need the gimmicks. It's just for the storytelling. I feel like in the main roster they add all these cheesy gimmicks that don't mean much. Like even with the strap match that we saw with Daniel Bryan and the Fiend, there was no need for that. It was pointless. It was pointless.
But I did like the no DQ. What was it? Streak that he did with.
Oh yeah, with the Roman Reigns and. That
That was actually really
That was
good.
fun, but that's the whole point of the street fight. When you do these things, is that it should go out into the crowd. It shouldn't just be, oh well, they're fighting up and down the ramp. No, it's supposed to be crazy that you're going out, because then it's like, wow, anything can happen in a street fight. And in a street fight, if you ever seen a street fight, you're bumping into people, or I'm adding myself in a fight. But people are fighting in the street and they're bumping in, and people pushing back and forth. Think of Def Jam Fight for New York and Def Jam, and they're like pushing everybody, like fighting, and you pushing them back in.
Def Jam Vendetta.
Yeah, Def Jam Vendetta had that. Those are some classic games. I was just playing Fight for New York the other day too, PS2. But, yeah.
I just want to say, since you mentioned it, I couldn't help but laugh when you mentioned the strap match with Daniel Bryan and Bray and the Fiend. I can't wait to see how they're going to have the Fiend no-sell Goldberg attacks in their match.
Not going to happen. We'll save that for that showdown prediction, because I predict already Goldberg is going over. Goldberg is winning. Goldberg is winning. That is going to be the ultimate surprise, and they're going to make him look strong. And this is going to be the shocker, because then this will play off that big men can take him down. Then eventually he will lose, and then he'll lose it too. They're going to do something, but it just makes sense that Goldberg wins this. There's no point for him to do this match. There really is no point.
Setting up Goldberg versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I could see that. Because Goldberg, as much as some people laugh, he's still a draw. That's why they keep doing this. He's still in amazing shape. I don't care if he's juicing or not. The man looks no different than he did when he was in WCW. Give him credit. He's in his 50s pulling that off. Shit. I'd be lucky if I'm on that agent and doing all that. But then again, he has a team behind him helping him. He's been open about that. He's got his gym and all that. But great, let him do it. And I think because of that, he's still a draw. He makes money. His gimmick is that he is a strong man who can do the unthinkable. Right? That was always his thing. Even Brock saw the money in that. That's why Brock was like, yeah, no, let him beat me and get the title. No one will see that coming. It'll make him look strong, and it will.
And then it will be very obvious when he faces Roman Reigns that he will lose that belt.
Yes,
at
and
WrestleMania.
then, well, not even Russell. Well, we're going to, yeah, and then nobody wants to see Roman Reigns versus the Fiend. Nobody wants to see that, but they'll see this.
Yeah. Let's see Roman Reigns versus the Fiend.
We're not gonna see it. Yeah, so I could easily see this happening. I could see it happening. He catches him with a few spears. He does the jackhammer. And he wins. And it's a shocker. But
no.
You say no. But you know what? We can't have the Fiend. He's already playing his character beyond The Undertaker. At least The Undertaker had the urn. He had weaknesses. What is the Fiend's weakness right now?
Nothing.
You can't have a character like this. He's 100% on the creative wrestler in WWE 2K then. You can't do that.
Wait, hold on. Hold on. We do know what his weakness is. Roman Reigns.
Mojo.
No, his big funny man hammer that he walks around with. Maybe if he gets bonked on the head with it, it's over. We don't know. But we'll save that for the next one. When is that? When is that show? That's a weekday, right?
Well, actually, Ricky and I will be at PAX East that week.
Yeah, but the day before that, when is that? I mean...
It's on Thursday.
It's on a Thursday. So maybe
Thursday, February 27th.
So maybe on a Monday or Tuesday we'll do a special Friday Night WrestleCast, early cast. We'll call it the early cast. There you go. And then we'll just cover that when we give our predictions, because they're trying to prove that anything could happen there. And remember, the Fiend won his title there. He beat Seth Rollins at this event, so it's not like, oh, this is just a glorified house show. It's not. So things could happen, and they want people to talk about it. They want people to be like, oh, wow, I should have watched that. And this could easily happen. Yeah, maybe he could win it back the next day, whatever. But I have a feeling the surprise is going to be that Goldberg wins this.
I don't know what any of the other matches
the
are
banner.
yet.
We saw the poster. It doesn't matter, but the poster even shows it. Just remember, he's all jacked up. I sent you a reply. I want that poster.
Yeah.
Goldberg should get that poster and his wall blown up. And I want that poster because that was a badass poster. He's all jacked. For people listening, go look that up. That showdown picture is like Goldberg looking all chiseled, like raw, screaming, and you got the Fiend's face right above him. It looked crazy. It looks like something that could be on a B horror movie DVD cover at your mom and pop shop.
Rob Zombie creation.
Yeah, it could be. Why not? It looks fun. It definitely looks like a wrestler versus a typical wrestler with Goldberg going against a monster character, which is exactly what the Fiend is.
It looks better for an Armageddon poster. Remember Armageddon?
Yeah, I remember Armageddon. Didn't they have to change? Which one? There's a pay-per-view that they change whenever they go to Germany because they can't say the name. I think, is it the Elimination Chamber?
Elimination Chamber,
They can't use the chamber. It triggers some harsh memories.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so they can't use that name.
Did they say pod? What about pod? The elimination pod?
No, they give it.
In Germany, it's called No Escape.
No Escape. There you go.
Oh,
Yeah. Fun facts for you kids. All right. Well, there you go. This is Friday Night WrestleCast for February 14th, 2020. That's right, 2020. We've been doing this for 15 years. It's been fucking crazy. All right. So I was your host, Adam Vale. You can follow me on Twitter at Adam Vale. I do a lot of stuff all over the place. We are all pretty much, besides Ricky, but everybody else here, we're all part of the Koalition family. Come check us out. Whoa. You got something to say?
No. Ricky is actually a part of the
We
Koalition.
never see Ricky. Ricky never does it.
I'm officially part of the Koalition.
There we go. All right, so we'll edit this part out, rewind. Welcome back, everybody. So we're all heading out. We want to thank you for listening to Friday Night WrestleCast. Come check out our little writings and all the little tidbits. We do a lot of stuff over at the Koalition. There's a lot of good stuff. A lot of gaming news, a lot of media news. We got Dana. She did an interview with Terry Crews. That was fun. That's Mr. Man. For when I think about when people were talking recently, they were like, "Oh well, the characters that they have, meaning Microsoft," and I see as his character from Crackdown, that's gonna be a mainstay. I could see that as if they do any other Crackdowns, it's gonna be with Terry Crews. He's the face, so I think he's part of that family, that universe.
Yep.
And then that's it. So thanks for listening. Thanks for downloading. And we will see you for the showdown. Peace, everybody.